Hey, welcome to Unleash Your Inner Badass episode number 3 with our special guest, Brian Johnson. So, Brian over here in the corner on your screen, I hope, because that's where he is on my screen.
Yeah.
And a little bit about Brian, how we know him, how this all came about. We were at an event, Adrian and I were at an event in Austin with a friend of ours, and he happened to be a friend of with Brian. And this is the craziest story, but we had a few episodes in Austin with, we'll call it the Donut Death Match, and some weird, strange people. And Adrian and I were pretty like shaken, I guess, the idea of the whole thing. And so Brian stepped in and taught us how to reset our bodies. Do you remember that, Brian? Reset our minds. You don't remember that? Like, it was so cool.
I'm pretty sure it was amazing, though.
Yeah, it was amazing. Totally amazing. So it was awesome. But we're excited to have Brian on with us today. Brian, tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do.
Yeah.
And yeah, we'll go from there if that works.
I wonder what I did. It's only gotten better and faster since then, so today will be more interesting. So my name's Brian Johnson. I'm 45 years young currently, and I started doing the health thing when I was 7. Now, I'll show you a couple pictures just so you know if you can see this. I've been 250 3 different times, if you can see that. We can get the lighting on it right. So I've done that 3 different times, and I say 3 because I didn't change who I was being the first 2 times, but I didn't know. So, over the years for me, I started doing the health thing when I was 7, so I got a very early start, got punched in the face a few times, had an older, bigger brother, and I decided that was enough of that. So I literally just jumped into bodybuilding and figuring out how to make my body do things, and other people would just start asking me questions. So it's always been a natural thing for me. I've done it whether people enjoyed it or not. I didn't care. It's just for me, it's what I always did, and just to this point, it has led me up to doing a lot of personal training way early in the 2000s, running training departments, getting out of that, going into corporate America, doing some stuff with Leadership Austin here in Texas and Austin, Texas. And then now just getting into high level coaching, millionaire, billionaire people, corporations, and things like that on a very niche level for people who are committed to self mastery. And over the years, come across a lot of interesting things. I've been blessed to serve well over 100,000 people a long time ago. It's not one of these. It's like, look, I'm just going to share with you the facts of what I've experienced. And if it works for you, great. I'll tell you this, though. I've never seen it not work. So think about that. And I'm going to continue doing what I do. And if you're open-minded, then I'll share some tools with you today that will potentially transform your life on the spot. And I've never seen them not work.
There's a lot of people out there, a lot of people that really are into the what do I do, right? What do I do to be successful? How do I get success? And what we found is we can give them all the do's. We can give them do this, do that, all the things, right? But something is still broken, right? And they're like, what's wrong with me? They keep hitting their head against the wall where they're wondering, okay, what's wrong with me? Why isn't this working? And they get stuck in that loop that they're not doing something. They're missing something. So that's what we talk about on this show is like, how do they get out of that? How do they really start?
Let me know what you find out. Welcome to being an entrepreneur. So give yourself a pat on the back because most people ain't prepared for this. So here's what I'll share with you. You need to have some understanding on who you're being, not what you're doing. Okay, when you're like, oh, what do I need to do? What do I need to do? First off, if you're in that mindset, you're automatically in anxiety, frantic, fear energy, and that's the stuff that's going into everything you're doing. So you need to stop and change your state of who you're being and then take action from that state. Problem is when people start doing stuff, will you do me a favor and pull up my chart real fast? So we're going to talk about this today, and this is the best way I can help you because this is the fastest way I can help you get out of guessing about who you're being and instead give you accurate, palpable information that you can use right now to take control of exactly who you're bringing to the table of life. Because if you don't, no one is. And most people are unconscious, and most people are, for all intents and purposes, are completely uninterested in knowing what's really going on. So I am on the other end of that stick, however. So you'll find out. So here's what we're going to talk about. So when you think about being successful, or you think about moving forward in your business, the reason why you are not is because your body is in opposition to what you are thinking and ultimately what you are believing on a unconscious slash subconscious level, meaning underneath your conscious awareness of I'm doing all these things, my body's like, I ain't doing that. That's why. That's why you heard me say I've been 253 different times, because I didn't change who I was being the first 2 times, and I didn't know that. And guess what, family? You will forever sabotage yourself until you fix this. And if you choose to fix this, your first job is to completely love yourself 100% unconditionally, all the things you think are flaws here and now. If you're not prepared to do that, go do something else. Go get a job for someone else. And I love you. I don't have time to fuck around with you. Just being honest with you, okay? That's a fact. It's like that's the hardest part is,
It is
okay,
the
how
fact.
can I take where I'm at and love myself no matter what I have put myself through? Because that's the facts. I have created all of these things until I'm willing to take radical responsibility for everything I've experienced. Even if I don't like it, it does not matter, because if I'm rejecting it and stiff arming it, I'm going to keep bringing that into my life. I have to make peace with all of me. All of my parts and pieces have to harmoniously integrate for me to move forward congruently, effectively, spiritually, emotionally, physically intertwined in one coherent functional temple that looks like a temple. Most people are going to a temple rather than living in one. There's a vast difference in those concepts and those ways of being. If you don't have tools to do that, look around. Most people don't. Okay? So what I'm sharing with you with my chart is within seconds, you can get out of the world of, oh my God, what am I feeling? So, okay, what is my body telling me? Look, I see problems go away that ain't supposed to go away in seconds all the time. I expect it to happen. This is why my information is banned and censored, because I can solve problems quickly. Not because I'm so amazing. Yeah, I am, because I put a lot of time into it. But when you really understand the facts and what's really going on, it's really pretty simple. I mean, it's staggeringly simple. And I'll show you while we're here on the phone, because where the hell we are. Wherever the hell we are, forgive me.
We're everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
So here's a couple things first we're going to talk about, because I think this would be of most use for you now, because a lot of times when people are not taking action, it's fear. What if, what if, what if, what if? Get clear on what your actions are, write them down, take action. But here's the point. When you start thinking about take action, I've been in the game for a long time. I still feel fear. I just say push go and take off. The only way you're going to do it is to do it. Like there is no substitute for rolling your sleeves up and getting yourself dirty. It's not. Entitlement doesn't work. The only person starting at the top is the person digging a hole. You have to do the work. Like you gotta get yourself in there, deal with your pain, deal with your stuff. No one wants to do that. I cry all
Nope.
the time. I cry more as a grown adult than I ever have as a kid. I guarantee you. Just my filters are so non-existent now that when it happens, it's happening. I'm like, well, here we go. I give myself permission to feel my feelings. I choose to make this fun and easy, and I'm gonna cry, and I'm gonna deal with it. I used to be terrified of being embarrassed. Dude, I have cried so hard. When I've been with my coach, I had no idea this was going to happen. 30 people. I cried like a 2-year-old for at least 10 minutes. Fascinating. I had through body language. He asked me a couple questions. My body was giving all the code off, and he's a master at asking the question. The question will elicit the response. Generally, people will start crying instantly because there's no dating. It's like your body's telling you, if you know how to read it, what's going on all day. Most people just don't know. Like every time you have an itch or a scratch, that's your body's talking to you. Look, okay? When I came across this information and I really am in tune with what's going on, environmentally, people, data, like a lot of information I'm very in tune to. When you start understanding body language, it gets freaky. Okay? I've been at tables with 5 of Kurt's buddies. Listen, I was at a table with 5 high performers I never met before. I only knew one of them. So I'm sitting at the table and I'm practicing my new little ninja tricks. So I'm just sitting there, and person by person, I'm not talking to them. They're talking amongst themselves. I'm just being present, paying attention. Okay? So I take the first person and I give them about a 1 to 2 second delay. So when they move their arm up on the table, I give them 1 second, 2 seconds, and then I move my arm up on the table. And then I would start tracking their breathing. And I would match their breathing and then bring them into mine. 30, 45, 60 seconds, let's just say, their body was synced up to mine. They had zero idea of what was going on. I go to the next person, same thing. 60 seconds, they're following me. No idea. Next person, 60 seconds, same thing, etc., etc. So at the whole point, I get back to me, and they're all completely in tune with me subconsciously and have no idea consciously that I just did all of that. They're still unaware of it. Think about that. If I'm doing that, what in the world do you think is going on? It's just me. You think other people don't know that? Of course they do.
Of course they
The
do.
question is, do you know that? Because you need to know it about yourself. Because if you don't know this, well, here's your sign. I'll teach you all of it. And it's not difficult to learn. It's a skill set, but I'll tell you, I can. Let's talk about this right quick. So I have totally blown out. This piece of my bicep is somewhere over here. Okay, totally blown it off. Created 2 car wrecks, all because I had stuff going on in my relationship that I didn't clean up. I was pissed off for 3 days. Hot. I was, be polite how I say this, I was not doing my work fully with my heart. I was that kind of thing, right? For lack of better words, or words I'm not going to say on this expression. So what happened is I was just fuming. Okay, when you're hot for 2 or 3 days, you need to stop and you need to get yourself grounded, because whenever you have that type of juice, you're going to create something. Because our feelings this is important. Our feelings is what's dictating our experience. So if you're walking around all day long having zero iota of what your body is telling you, that's why you're getting a super shit. But when you can clean it up and you don't have any more fear, your anger is gone, your body's in complete harmony and peace, now you're operating in a state of grace. That has a different file of people, circumstances, situations, and events to match how you feel or who you be. You get the difference. So if I'm going about my day all day long and I'm frantic and I'm breathing from my chest, and here's how you can know. This is a very simple idea. Throughout the day, track where you're breathing from. Are you breathing from your chest or from your stomach? If you're breathing from your chest, that's telling you you're at oh my God, or fight or flight or freeze, or whatever you want to call it. Not a great place to stay. Okay? So what you need to do is push your breathing down to your stomach. You might say something like, I say this a lot. I give myself permission to feel my feelings, and it's okay. I got a head movement, and okay went down versus okay. That's no K. Okay? I say, not so much. It happens. You need to be aware of that, because that's your inner ninja saying, I'm not doing it, of which that's unacceptable. You have to find the languaging to say, okay, what will you do? Oh, I give myself permission. Oh, okay, I'll do that. Oh, thank you. You have to learn how to put them together. Many people are battling. That's our ego. That's what it does. That's why we're alive, because it battles. It's always looking for the worst. Like you gotta have tools to be able to bring your higher subconscious self online to take control of all the monkey mind stuff and clean it out. That's a hard job. That's a hard job.
That is a hard job.
You got to forget everything you think you know and start. Serious.
You think you know what you're talking about, but you don't.
It's all crap. Everything we've been taught is crap. It's a terrible idea to think about, but the faster you can get clear on it and say, okay, I'm open-minded to changing, your life will change. But if not, the tools and the information that has been taught to us is just terrible. You need conscious tools. You need conscious understanding and understanding how to move forward effectively, consciously, so you know who you're bringing to the table. Because if you don't, well, guess what? You wonder why things aren't working? Here's your sign.
It's because and it's not just in business either. You know, being an entrepreneur or
everywhere.
You know, it's everywhere. It's in your relationships. It's you know, in your just as a human being, the way you interact with other people, right? Like let's talk about that body language stuff that you were rattling off before we went live.
Yeah, let's talk about this too right quick. So you know the term for human in the Black's dictionary is a sea monster. So I gave up being a human and became a God man instead. You do what works for you. But just know there's a lot of interesting stuff out there. So body language. Let's talk about this right quick. So pull our chart up real quick. Here's what I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you how to identify where you're at, meaning not where you're at, where you're physically located at, but what's actually going on in your body. So that way you can get crystal clear in seconds on exactly what you feel. Now, here's the key. More than likely, this is probably the first time you have ever consciously done and are about to do what I'm about to show you. So just be a fly or a human on the wall in your own experience. Be your observer. You have an observer and you have a participant. Be both. Watch what your body does. Your body is going to start talking. It is going to start moving. That is all code. It's about to get very interesting in your life. That is. Are you ready? Here we go. So say the phrase. Pay attention to everything. Pay attention to your head movement. Does your head say yes or does your head say no? Some of you will have a no, guaranteed. Okay, and you need to know that, not for me, for you. I'll help you clean it up. But if you don't know, you got to know. When's now a good time to know? Okay, because if you're cruising down the road going, "Oh yes, yes," and your head's doing this the whole time, you need to pay attention. Okay, and you need to pay attention when other people are talking to you and they're supposed to be doing this and they're doing this. You need to pay attention. Okay, not saying they're lying. I'm not saying you're lying. I'm saying you need to pay attention and you need to ask some questions. Okay, so it's going on all the time. People get paid millions of dollars should be doing this, and they're doing this on TV. Okay, it's so in our face. People just don't. They don't know.
They're not
Okay?
aware. Yeah.
Yep.
Here's
Yep.
something even more fun than that. So when people start stuttering, I don't know if I've ever went through this with y'all. So when people start stuttering, like if someone says and or hey or the number is code. 2 is apathy or I can't. This is too hard. You'll hear that one a lot. It'll probably happen today. I might even if I stutter, I will correct myself and you will hear it. 2 stutter and apathy, which means I can't. This is too hard. Very common. Okay. 3. Hey. Oh. Will you pull the chart up real quick? Because this is going to help you connect the dots. So when you get my chart, use my text message number and just comment the word chart and you'll get this for yourself. But when you get my chart, not that piece of paper. Good thing I'm not
We'll
running.
give you that number here in a second, but it's
Yeah.
512-648-5440 to get the
And
chart.
use that, but also if you can, pull the other one up. Y'all can just screenshot. Just take a picture of that so you have it. But here's the point. I'll give you the information first. So you notice those circles and you notice those numbers in there. Isn't that interesting? That, my friends, is the stutters. So the reason why your body is going to stutter, or anybody for that matter, is because they are not feeling what's going on their body. That's the whole point, okay? Our superconscious self is like, hey, our human here has got their head in their hiney and they got a spill on aisle 13 and have no idea. Start stuttering to hopefully get their attention, right? And it happens all the time. It's crazy. But the point of the matter is this. When you hear a 3 stutter, what you do is you go back to your body or you check in with your body. Hopefully you're still there. And you track your throat. If you have tension in your throat, that's where sorrow or sadness is going to show up when it's present. If you go down 2 circles, you'll see fear 4. That's where fear shows up when it's active. Ditch the word anxiety forever out of your vocabulary. It's a mind screw, not in a good way. It's a mental state. Just use the word fear because that's what it is. I'll show you how to solve that today. Fear, and then you have grief, which is a 3. That's important because you're going to have 3 different locations where that 3 tightness can show up. So when you hear a bam stutter and 3, count the number 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'm going to track my throat. Okay, nothing there. I'm going to track my solar plexus, which is right in the center of my body, like chest and stomach line. Nothing there. And then I've got a spot below my belly button. Oh, there it is. Your body is going to tell you the code. Okay, it's going to be what I call a double validation. So when you hear a stutter, you pay attention. Even if you hear it in someone else, pay attention. There is no someone else. That's you. You can use that information to track data in seconds and get clear on where you're out of alignment at. Okay, so let's leave the chart there for a second. I'm going to walk you through this. So this is what I call my ABRA chart, like abracadabra poof, to create with words. Here's what it stands for. A is awareness. Profound, right? The idea right now for you is since you are currently Unaware is to become aware. Pretty simple, right? Well, this is what you do. This is what I'm showing you how to do. You can use my chart to get clear on what your body is telling you by the second. My invitation to you would be, I have, just to give you some understanding, I have an alarm that goes off every 15 minutes for me to tweak my state. My objective is very simple, is to be more enthusiastic before I go to sleep than I was when I rose up. For the most part, I'm successful in that. And the only way I am successful in that is to turn and tweak my dials all day long with baby adjustments. That's it. Okay. And here's the thing. Stop looking for a transformation and just consistently make the simple 1 degree shifts daily. If you do that, I promise you your life will shift. If you don't, it won't. A lot of times people make it too difficult. Okay. So you have, this is the chart that you track, and you remember this. Okay. There's going to be times, like I've had people who haven't felt a feeling in 60 years, and I get them to track their body, and they say, no, 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 but I know based off the experience they're telling me they're having an issue with, that sums up. I feel it in my body. Okay. They are not feeling it. So I say, okay, say this. I'll tell them, and I would go ahead and say this and just track it. I give myself permission to feel my feelings, and it's okay. That conscious statement is what rewires their conscious and subconscious and their inner child to where their body is secure to feel. Most people shut that off a long time ago.
Mhm.
Trauma, war, relations, whatever. Everyone's calloused up because they're, a lot of times they don't want to get more hurt. I understand. Okay. Your work is to heal all that stuff up and to be a completely whole version of yourself, so you naturally inspire other people to be that way just by your being. Makes sense? Vibration is transmitting 100%. Okay. So we have awareness. We scan our body. The next part for Aber is breathe. Where am I breathing from? My chest or from my stomach? Remember, I told you this. If you're breathing from your chest, if you walk away with nothing and you care about yourself at all, just start tracking your breathing. Start there. Simple. Okay. You need to track it consistently. I'll even give you a shortcut. What I do is I have something called a heart-centered breath. Well, I'll think about taking my nose and my mouth off my face. I'll put it on my heart. I will breathe with my imagination into my heart, and I will smile with my heart. And I will stay here until I authentically smile, because when I get it here, it goes everywhere. It completely interesting. Two-stutter. I choose to make this fun and easy. That was that. So when that happens, what I'm doing is I'm getting back into my heart. You cannot be in fear and faith at the same time. Scripture says, I'm not a religious person. Scripture I love. Choose this day whom you shall serve, fear or faith. Well, if you're breathing from your chest, your body has already chose fear for you, and you're completely unaware of it. If you're looking to create more fear results in your life of not having, guess what? Stay there. Simple enough.
I think, Brian, for me to just like drive this in, when we started working together, I was really frustrated and working on, growing my business and things, but I was really experiencing a lot of headaches, and they were bad, right? Like they were like really bad all day, every day, and I couldn't get rid of them. And Brian taught me how to breathe. Like literally, like that's what he taught me, right? Like he was like, Brandy, just learn how to breathe, because I'd been in that fight or flight or, whatever for so long. I wasn't even aware that was what was happening. And so my body is not getting enough oxygen. And it's
Yeah.
the craziest thing. So he taught me this heart-centered breathing, and it makes an incredible difference. So if that's just where you start, like you don't even have to be aware. Just start breathing into your heart. And one of the things, because I said to Brian, I was like, this doesn't make any sense. How do you breathe into your heart, right? Like that doesn't make any sense to me. He says, breathe like you're a straw, and you start in the middle, and all that goes both ways. Do you remember that, Brian? You probably don't even remember that. He just explained it in a different way that it made more sense to me, right? Because I was like, well, I don't know how to breathe into my heart. That's freaking weird. So
People are
he
in
taught me
their
how to
heads.
draw, right?
People are so far in their noggins. I'm like, dude, stop being a freaking adult. Just
Yeah.
She's like, is that some woo woo
Yeah.
stuff? I don't know how to do that.
I hate this woo-woo crap, right? But after the application, because when I went into it, I was like, whatever, Brian, this is so dumb, this whole woo-woo stuff, right? And then it works. That's the thing. It's so crazy. Like it works. And it's all because we're just so connected. We're like these talking heads, and our bodies aren't even like connected like it's this whole other being that you don't even know is there. And so once he taught me that straw, breathe from the middle and out. So if you look at it, it's like the middle in your stomach, and then you breathe out into your head, into your legs, and it fills that straw. And I could visually see that, right? And now of course I can visually see the heart with this smile, but it took some
That's
work, guys.
important.
It's
You know,
not, it's not easy.
here's the thing too, okay, and this is important. I'm glad you said that because for a long time I could not pretend, could not imagine. Probably from doing an astronomical amount of drugs, my pineal gland was probably closed off. So I've done a lot of detoxification over the years. But even then, just be gentle with yourself. Sometimes I'm a feeler. Like if someone says imagine, like I can feel myself into something better than I can imagine.
Mhm.
Right? I know how I will feel when I'm in this situation. That for me is where my gifts are. Everybody's different. Just find yours, but just know this much. If you're unaware of what you're feeling, how about let's just start there? Because if you don't know that piece, stop what you're doing and pay attention, okay? Because I'm
And I
going to
hope you
say
guys
that.
caught the every, 15 minutes. If that's a lot for you, you can start with the every hour. How am I feeling? Just start asking yourself that, right? How am I feeling? Because it was
And when
hard
you
for
go,
me to
yeah,
do
and this
all
is
that.
important for you too. I mean, it's hard because people don't have the systems. Because look, even as a professional, when I put new things, I'm like, dang it, I just remembered to do that thing I was supposed to do yesterday. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. Okay, so be gentle with yourself. Best thing you do is love yourself. When you love yourself, your subconscious will come online and start helping you do stuff rather than sabotaging you. Think about it. If you got a little 3-year-old that you have not loved on and haven't cleaned up, and you're dragging, or that thing's dragging you through life, making the decisions for you because that's your default, stop what you're doing and get it cleaned up. Because look, everything, if you're having issues and these things keep showing up, guess what? They're going to keep showing up until you change why they're showing up. It doesn't take a long time. This is what I do in my 30-day challenge, and this is what I do with a lot of my high-level people, is just get them cleaned up quick. Like, let's clean up your relationship stuff, because here's something really cool. Okay, check this out. All of you think about someone in your past that you've had some opportunities to grow with. How's that? Okay, think about that for a
I
minute.
love the way you
That
said
you
that.
had opportunities to grow with.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
I
is,
like.
right? Okay, you got him, her. So now, when you think about them, pull my chart back up, our chart genius. So when you pull this up, okay, when you think about the person, if you are feeling your feelings, your body is going to fire off instantly one, multiples, or maybe all of those, letting you know those emotions are still present. Does that
The
make
back
sense?
pain makes sense now. No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Look, here's the key, okay? This means if you go back in all your relationships and you have some, those are all fragments of you that are off somewhere that you need to gather back up and bring back into your being to be whole. This is how you resurrect who you're being. It's called shadow work. Being able to go back and look at areas where you have belief systems or where you're triggered or whatever it is, and being willing to track what you're feeling instantly, not what you're thinking. What you're feeling, your body is always going to tell you the truth. I don't care how many times you call me or we talk. I'm going to say, what does your body tell you? Oh, I don't care what you're thinking. It's not what I'm asking you. I'm asking you, what is your body telling you? That's what I'm interested in. That's what you need to be interested in, because that's the truth. This shit up here often ain't the truth. You need information to make intelligent decisions, or the data to rewire who you're being on the spot. This is what I'm showing you how to do. And it's really easy, right? So, did any of y'all notice any tension in any of those areas? And here's the key. If you go up to look, you ain't going to find it, because that's your visual center. Okay? If you go down, that's your feeling world. Like when I'm coding information, or I'm coding, like when I say coding, if I'm shifting, like I choose to love my fear into my courage and my faith, my body, my eyes will naturally go down to my left, which puts me into my body instantly. So I feel whatever I'm saying, and my body says, okay,
Yes, sir.
only because I've gotten into that kind of rapport. Like when I'm talking to myself the other day, my head will say yes. I'm like, thank you. There's a full blown conversation going on, and the question is, are you aware of any of it? Okay, because it's going on all day. Even while you're asleep, my body is scratching and itching and stuff. Never sleeps, ever. So I give myself permission to feel my whatever, my sorrow, my fear, my grief, my anger. And the key is always go to the emotion first. Because if you don't get to neutral, you can't change and pull the charge off of it. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
You have, like, whatever you're like, oh, I hate that. I give myself permission to let it be okay. You have to get the charge off of it, or you're going to keep getting more of it. That's
More
the
of the
that's the
kickback.
goal.
I think one of the key words that you use is the permission.
Yeah,
You're giving yourself permission, right, to feel those feelings. And
I give myself permission a lot to get my ego out of the way.
But it's like once you tell yourself that, it's like a release
Yeah,
because you're now like saying it, it's now in your in your head, and it's like this release of your body,
yeah.
right? Like,
Your
and
words will your body is like, okay, hey, our human gets it. They're even connecting consciously to let us know, okay, they got the feedback. Thank you. And then relax.
it's like it's finally listening. I've been trying to tell you for
Look,
years.
okay, we have been lied to. I'm not sure what your experience is, but mine's been really vastly different over the last 7 years. Uh, we've been lied to. Okay, you need to be aware of who you really be. And from my understanding, we're functioning on 2 strands of DNA, and we're supposed to have 12, and those 12 are coming online. So if you start noticing some different things, pay attention. There's a lot of things going on that they ain't talking about. And if you know what I mean by they, then you'll figure it out. If not, message me on. Okay? So your job, honestly, is to clean yourself up. Clean your emotions, clean all your stuff up. If you need help, I'll help you. But look, that is your job. You need to understand there's a lot of energies coming through the planet. And if you got a lot of stuff going on and you're not able to process those energies, do the math. Circuit breakers. All kinds
Blows
of
up.
okay, so awareness, breathe, release, and then
recode.
recode.
Yep. And then appreciate and aligned action. So let's use fear, for example, because I believe that would be the most prominent. From top to bottom, I'm going to be me. Okay. So when I'm being with me and I notice I have fear, I either hear a four stutter, I'm breathing from my chest, or I can just tell I have fear going on. I was going to say anxiety, but no, I'll say fear. Okay. Because that's the truth. Okay. So I'll say I give myself permission to feel my feelings and it's okay. And I'm tracking my head, I'm tracking my breath, I'm just being with myself. I'm observing what I'm getting, piecing it together and asking questions and getting more information all day. Okay. So awareness, breathe. Where am I breathing from? Chest. Okay. I push my breathing. I choose to make this fun and easy. To stutter. I give myself permission to feel my feelings and it's okay. That generally will get my breathing down to my stomach. And you might have to put your hand on your stomach and breathe into your stomach. Most people are like, what do you mean breathe from your stomach? I'm like, just like it sounds. Breathe into your stomach.
Let's practice.
If
All of
your
us together.
Yeah, if your
Ready?
shoulders go up, that's going to tell you. If you breathe and you go, if you take a breath, you go, that's all chest. What you're going to do is push your breath down into your stomach so your stomach fills out like a Buddha belly. And I would even say too, test this out. Test putting the roof of the roof of the tongue, your tongue on the roof of your mouth. Okay. And what happens is that connects electrically our body because here's what I'm going to share with you, okay? I have been real high on illegal drugs, lots of them. I have been even higher on God and spirit and just oxygen. Truth be known, okay? Paid a lot of money to find that and got it for free. Conscious breathing is a big deal. If you even for a second can just slow down, breathe in through your heart and slow down and be with your breath consciously. I've had God come down into my body about 4 times as I'm reflecting. Every time my breathing has shifted a certain tempo. You can use, you got to find yours. Trust me. You just focus on your breath, take a conscious breath into your heart and smile, and you just focus on that and you watch what happens for yourself. You're not doing this for anyone else but yourself. That's it. Okay? And what you're doing by getting into your breath is you're activating your spirit. You're becoming harmonized, at peace. Instead of being in fight or freeze, which is your spirit is not going to inhabit that type of situation. You have to be able to breathe. Your breathing is an testament to say, you know what? I believe it's all going to be all right, no matter what it looks like. That's you agreeing with that by taking breath and breathing. That's how you say, okay, I'm in alignment with that. Okay, well, then take some fucking action and breathe. Okay, that's how you do it. So, and the thing is this: is if you're not tracking where you're breathing from throughout the day, you need to check it out. Because if you just did one or two things, you focus on your breathing, and then you just start checking in with yourself. Because look, when you're triggered, you need to get clear on what emotion is connected to the thing. Because once you break the trigger and clean it up, it's gone. Now, look, I'm going to share this with you. This is important. If you really start doing what I'm telling you to do, and you're in a relationship, you need to hear me out. Okay. After 100,000 transformations, I've come to find something out pretty quick. So, when I started teaching people this information and they really start rewiring their life and who they're being, they change at very fast levels because you're going on a code level. Like you're going on a default blueprint and you are hooking up who you're hardwired to be. That's it. Okay. Which means whatever you're divinely here to do, that's what you're activating. You only know that. Okay. When you do that, often people's partners ain't open-minded to that type of experience. And that creates some conflict. Because one person's sprinting for the goal line like me, I was like, I don't care. I will take my mission over my family if that's what's necessary. I'm already at peace with it. I'm not going to have to do that. But if that's what's necessary, I'm here to do my thing. If someone's not in line with it, that's not my issue, right? So you got to figure out what that is for you. But you need to understand this. When you start shining, many people in your life ain't going to be interested in that reflection. Because that means they have to look at all the stuff they are not doing. And they're either going to judge you to high heaven, or they're going to love you and say, you know what? You're doing an amazing job. The ones who are not telling you you're doing an amazing job, get rid of them. Look, you got to understand something. Where you're going, ain't everybody's not going. Okay? You're going to have to make a choice. Not saying you got to say no forever. You just mind you say no right now and put yourself first, because I have never had any issue of putting me first. I have not. And my suggestion was you do that too. Put yourself in for a couple hours a day. I was outside for 3 or 4 hours yesterday. I don't think I did any much work yesterday. There's days where I'm like, you know what? I need some sunshine time. So that's what I did. So you got to go find that time for you. But understanding who you're being daily is critical, because if you can start crafting this and you can start tweaking it before you go to bed at night, you can legitimately put yourself into a very high vibe state and go to sleep and rise up the next morning, and your body is already hardwiring all that goulash and fermentation and concoction you put yourself in before you go to sleep. So your body is doing all the hard and heavy lifting for you while you are asleep. But again, you got to love yourself to do the work.
Yes, if you guys haven't texted your number to get the chart, Brian said he'd follow up with you guys on the back end for all of our amazing audience out there that wants some help with being a human and getting conscious.
A superhuman, not a sea monster.
Not a sea monster.
I just want to say that, if you're watching this, right, you're an entrepreneur, right, following us. And part of that journey, we know, is the mindset piece. And talking a lot about, so I like this kind of marries really well together. We talk about this whole like manifesting what you want to happen. And it all makes so much sense with what Brian is saying, because we are a frequency. Our bodies are an energy and frequency being. And so when he's talking about changing that, right, and what you're putting out is what you're going to get, it absolutely makes so much sense. And when you become aware of even just a small bit of what Brian is sharing here, it can change so much around you, around what you're going to be for your business, right? And like what Brandy said, in your relationships, in your own health, right? Even just a small bit of awareness, like what Brian just took you through this process. And it can have such a big impact with the energies, right? With what you're wanting to bring your way in your life and in your business. So I just think that that's like, I was just sitting here listening and I'm like, oh my gosh, it just all goes together, right?
Yeah. Also, we noticed that a lot of mindset gurus, teachers leave the body out of the
Yes.
conversation completely. Like a lot of times it's never even mentioned in mindset trainings. So if you hear someone who talk about mindset and includes the body in the equation, it's body, mind, and spirit, right? It's a that's the whole picture. That's what kind of people you need to listen to. And a lot of times when we hear about body, whatever Brian is talking about, body conversations, least listen to your body. It feels like what the heck, right? Because we forget how to do it, right? It seems like, well, that's weird, but when we try, I tried the grief thing, and I thought I have nothing to grieve about. My dad passed away 18 years ago, and that's the only person I lost in my life. And when we did the exercise for who was it? Not Susan, the one person before that, Cindy.
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 I did the same thing about my dad, and I thought, well, I'm not grieving. It's been 18 years ago. And I realized in that 30 seconds that I pushed my grief so down
Down.
there
Yeah.
that I never actually processed it. And in these 30 seconds, I felt, you guys probably didn't see, tears came to my eyes in this 30 seconds. I
Good job.
felt it
Thanks.
shifted from the grief into joy. And I felt so much lighter and so much, I don't know, it's like I'm alive again. I felt that in 30 little seconds. So that what the body talk can do to you.
Mhm.
I'm
So you
like,
do know.
it's like, yeah, myself personally, when I just started learning about the body, I was like, oh, this is so weird. Like, who cares what it tells me? It doesn't tell me anything, right? But when you practice more and more, this little shifts, this
So
little paying attention to what your body tells you makes huge difference. And we just witnessed how fast these changes can happen. So make sure when you subscribe to any mindset training, those people include the body work, because this is like, it's been left out in the industry for centuries. And finally, it's coming back now. And Brian, one of those people who's uh, know a lot about it, done a lot about it. And as you can see, he's so passionate about it and he knows what he's doing.
Hey, I got a couple upgrades for both of you, right? So shift the word wanting, and I'll give you a little exercise and we'll test it out. Because remember, language. If you're interested in having some shortcuts where you don't have to sweat, language. Okay. So when someone wants scripture, I always go back to scripture. I'm not a religious person. Scripture says, "The Lord is my shepherd; I shall not want." Maybe it's coincidence. Let's find out. So if I say I want something, I will notice want will go bounce here and then boing, bounce out the top of my head. I also will notice too, when I say I want, I'll notice my shoulder blades will pop forward. Like you got to be a freaking ninja to understand what I'm talking about, because you got to track it, because it's happening that fast. Okay. So when I say I want, I'll notice my shoulders will pop just a little bit, which means I'm closing off and fear is activated. Wanting is agreeing with not having forever. Wanting and wanting and wanting and wanting. By language, by law, because that's what you're speaking. It's a free will world. Okay? So when you say I want, then you go into I choose. Now watch. Did you see how my head said down and choose was louder? I didn't mean for it to be. That's my body saying, hey, that's a better option. Okay? As Adrian scratches her head.
I
remember-
know. Ever since you said that, I'm just like itching everywhere.
Okay, your body's talking, right?
What is it that you want, Adrian?
I'm remembering, right? It's all code going on. It's either confirming or there's other information, but this interesting stuff going on. But the language, so wanting to choosing, that's a big difference. That is a difference between not getting something and accomplishing something. Just the word choice alone. Okay? I don't use needs anymore. Need to a 3-year-old, because remember, your subconscious is 100% literal and acts like a 3-year-old. So a need to a 3-year-old is air, food, love, shelter, water. So if I'm saying I constantly need something, like, I'll say I require. That word gets me off of the need aspect and allows my body to relax. So I have crafted vocabularies for myself over the years of getting rid of words that I don't like and don't work, so that it keeps me in a high state consistently, because of how I'm communicating and what I'm communicating, what I'm saying. If I hear something and I say something off, I can readjust it and change it. That way, look, you need to understand this. We are going to a space where you are going to speak and things are going to start happening. You need to understand how to start doing it consciously. And you need to understand what your body is doing, because your body is what's putting out the frequency with what you're saying. So when you say something and you don't have a feeling that goes along with it, you're just saying something. But if you can say something and you can get your body to generate a feeling like a full vibe or like a full body chill, that is a vehicle. That's a done. Okay? What I'm showing you how to do is get really crystal clear on how to use your instrument to fine tune what you're creating. Because if you can come from a position of not wanting or lacking, and instead of law of attraction means towards something, means I don't have it. If I can step into how would I feel, how do I feel now that I'm in law of satisfaction and I have it, oh, well, that's different. That's where you get to function from. It's function from that state, not towards it. Now that I have my successful business, how am I feeling? What am I doing? What am I hearing? Now, I'll share this with you, then I'll shut up. So when I was rewiring myself to get in impeccable shape, I had images of my fat picture. Okay? I had this one up. One day, just doing duh. Why would you be looking at that one? Idiot. Cancel, I'm a genius. And so I changed it. Okay? Point of the matter is this. If you're unaware of the images that you have in your head and the feelings they are driving, well, this is what your homework is. You need to get clear on what things are popping off in your head so you can rewire the images. I've had people, and we can do this easily. Like I've had people who've had some bad shit happen, yeah, and they got some bad images. And in about 2 to 4 minutes, we can completely rewire all of it. Like get rid of the whole image, so when they go access it, it's not even there. Their body goes through none of the feelings, and there's a picture of Care Bears and rainbows there if that's what they created. Okay, you literally can go through there and change all of that stuff. So whatever you're having issues with, you can change it. It's just going to be you believing you are worthy of doing it. And that's really what it boils down to. And if I had to say one thing to take away is triple down on yourself. Always go in on yourself. I have always gone on myself, even when shit didn't look good. I'm like, you know what? I'll depend on me. I'm investing in myself. You need to invest in yourself. If you don't, no one else is going to. I have $40,000 lessons before. So yeah, for sure. Start where you're at.
Awesome.
We all have.
Yeah, definitely.
And I want to, I saw this come across on my phone the other day, and I think it goes along with what you said, is this whole notion of loving yourself, right? Like, doesn't mean love yourself with like embrace the fact that you're unhealthy, right? Like, or you're this, right? Just so love yourself no matter what. It means love yourself enough to do this work, to invest and do this kind of work, right? Instead of just loving, like, I'm going to embrace that, I'm 30 pounds or whatever over, outside of where I'm supposed to be, right? And I'm just going to love myself there. That's not loving yourself. Loving yourself is investing to do this work that you're talking about, to get yourself in alignment with everything. Get yourself in alignment, that impacts your business, impacts your health, impacts your relationships, and not just loving yourself to be complacent with being unhappy with yourself. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
I'll add this to it. You need to love yourself no matter where you're at. When you love yourself no matter where you're at, you're going to love yourself into the best expression of yourself because you love yourself and you're willing to do the work. But if you don't love yourself unconditionally right where you're at, your body's like, so you got.
And one last thing, I don't think things happen on accident, right? Like
Never.
that whole meeting in Austin with Brian changed my entire trajectory, right? Like it changed everything. And it was by coincidence, right? But it was actually by divine intervention is what I'm trying to get at, right? The whole donut death match and the homeless people attacking me and all that crap that happened was so that I would open up my freaking eyes and see how to go to that higher conscious vibration instead of just
the fact that you had a homeless dude attacking you should tell you got some vibe stuff going on in the past.
They were trying to steal my glazed donut. Okay.
Sugars are more addicting than heroin, so you got to give them that. Maybe it's cocaine.
All they had to do was ask. We would have given them one.
Sugar does that to me too, though. I'll eat my daughter's stuff. I'm like, give it all to me. I don't even care. I'm like, let's go buy some more.
Yeah, it's incredible the work that you do, Brian. And I just want to thank you for, taking the time out to be here and help, all of our audience, help everybody that's seeing this. And
Yeah.
and you guys, if you haven't already texted and got the chart, make sure that you do that. Make sure you connect with Brian. Make sure that you are doing this work, even just becoming aware and breathing and, working on that piece while you talk to Brian on the back end to clean everything else up would be amazing. You'll be a completely different person in 5 seconds. Like, it's cool.
30 days.
Or if you want to erase all those bad memories, it's 2 to 4 minutes.
Care
2 to
Bears
4
and
minutes.
rainbows.
I mean, it doesn't take a long time to really make a massive difference, but the key is it happens now. Transformation happens now, always. So if something's not happening now to transform your experience, it ain't gonna happen. And really, all you need is a conscious skill set. So throughout the day, when life happens, you have a way to navigate it. You have a way to get clear. Okay, I feel fear. Right? I give myself permission to feel my fear. And it's okay. I choose to love my fear to my courage and my faith, and voila, I've just transmuted my situation like on the spot. It's kindergarten stuff. Look, okay, I have these things right here. I carry around in my pocket when I'm coding information or I'm hardwiring information, so my subconscious is just active with it. All you gotta do is write down the sayings on here, and then look at your picture on your phone. Like, okay, I got this and this. Okay, what does it say? And you just say it, and it goes away. So if you don't do it,
Brian's
you
got
don't love
cheat
yourself.
You guys all need the cheat sheets.
Yeah, the reward sheet.
I love
Well,
it.
text that number or text a chart to Brian, get connected with him, and he'll hook you up with all the goods. So
Thanks, Brian, for being here. We'll see you guys next time.
Yeah, awesome.